they come to me and say, Dan, my life is shit. Hello everybody, my name is Dan Jackson, aka Dan the Engineer, and I am in Rishikesh in India. India is nuts. It is crazy. I've travelled to quite a few countries, but my goodness, it's a culture shock. Especially because in the last 3 months, I have been living in a van in Australia. Coming to India is like you step out of Delhi airport and it's like, pow, it smacks you straight in the face. But anyway, I'm loving it, I'm embracing it. It is a challenge. I'm here because my wife is doing her yoga teacher training. I'm pretty much looking after the kids all the time because my wife's schedule is, it is full on. It's like, but this video, what I'm talking about in this video is I have so many people come to me, reach out to me online through my Instagram, Dan the Engineer, through LinkedIn, even through Facebook and stuff like that, even YouTube. And they come to me and say, Dan, my life is shit, right? And the reason they come to me is because I travel full time. I left the UK last summer, in the August last summer, and I've been traveling since with my wife and my 2 young children. I've got a 4-year-old and I've got a 2-year-old, and they're seeing the things that we're getting up to, and they're saying, oh, it's inspiration, it's lovely, and they're like, this is what I want to do. How do you do this? How did you manage to do this? Right? I'm not going to lie, it wasn't easy to achieve what I have achieved. Do I think that the average person can do it? Do you know what? I don't, but I do believe people can make very positive changes to their life, very easy changes to their life to make a huge impact. And a lot of people, what generally people come to me, they can kind of relate to me because, I'm a dad and I was a workaholic. All I done was worked. I just work. I've kind of, some relations with various people have kind of suffered as a result of me just working all the time. And do you know what? Because I've had time to reflect now that I've been traveling for 9 months, I've managed to think about things more systematically and realised that I really neglected myself more than I ever thought I realised by just working all the time. So obviously I didn't see my wife that often. She was struggling as a full-time mum, and we just got into this horrible cycle. My wife was depressed, she has health anxiety. It was just a downward spiral. And there's me working, thinking that I've got to earn this money to sort of help, money's the solution. But let me tell you now, money is not the solution. Money is an enabling factor, but money is a man-made object. And it's created this thing, materialism, capitalism, all these sort of, everything that rolls around money, can have really negative effects on your life. And I'll explain a little bit more. But I've come to realise that, what's more valuable is time. I say this all the time, and, people think, oh, no, money buys time. No, it doesn't, because you can't get time back. And people can relate to me being maybe a father, a husband, business owner, or just has a career, or even, just works in a job, a dead-end job, for example, and they're just like, I'm stuck in a rut. Now, I didn't even realise that I was in a rut. I thought I was doing all right. If you look at my career, like I had a business for 8 years, I had a fantastic career, had, a business that was thriving. I've done all the things, I had a Range Rover on a drive, I had a 5-bedroom house. But I was suffering because I wasn't looking after myself. And this is the most important thing, right? To look after other people, to look after your wife, to look after your kids, to look after even employees, colleagues, family, everybody around you. First of all, you need to look after yourself. It's one of the most important things. What I like to explain to people is that, when you get a flight, for example, and they say, if there's an accident and, the oxygen masks come down, for example, they always say, put yours on first and then put after, any dependents. And that's how I think, you need to treat, self-care. You need to look after yourself so you can then look after other people, and you need to be at your prime. So there's so many things that you can do, and I want to take you through a little bit of a process of what I've done. So first of all, you need to know there's a problem, and you need to know what the problem is. And a lot of it's like you haven't got a good work-life balance. I know guys who earn in excess of 100 grand a year, right? They've got a lovely house, they've got a nice car, but they're still completely miserable. So you need to identify the problem. What is the problem? Is it that you don't have time? Is it that your relationships are suffering? Is it that you just don't look after yourself? You're letting yourself go, right? So you need to identify the problem. Then you need to identify the cause of the problem. And that can be quite tricky, actually. Once you've found the cause of the problem, you then need to come up with a solution on how to overcome that problem. And obviously that's even harder. That is really hard. And then you need to put an action plan and make things happen. So I'll talk you through the process of my life. So if you follow me on social media, on LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel and other bits and pieces, on my Instagram probably shows the most personal stuff about me because I show you my day-to-day stuff. Follow me, Dan's the engineer. I just worked. I had no hobbies. I didn't do anything for myself. My relationship with like my wife, for example, although we have a very good relationship, the passion went, and that's because of, having children, and also because of just working all the time. Like it kind of just, it goes, but it is a problem. So, and also I neglected myself more and more and more. A big turning point for me was kind of just going through maturing, I think, just maturing a little bit and having a few instances in my life where I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, although I had a very good company, a very good growing company, actually the money that went into my pocket wasn't that great, if I'm completely honest, for what I'd done. And I was just like, what on earth am I doing this for? And then when my wife turned around to me and said, look, let's travel the world. And she said it time and time and time again. And at one point I was like, do you know what, screw this. Let's do it. Let's just do it. I done that because I wanted some time to live and explore and just get out of this working environment. It was like, in a way, it was kind of escape, and escapism I think is quite a bad thing. But sometimes you do need a drastic change to make some. So I'm still in the process of kind of figuring what I'm doing in my future, and it's clear now, but it's taken quite a while. I just needed to have a bit of fun, and honestly, the traveling I've been doing, it's been fun. Honestly, it's been great. So I went through this process of kind of like finding out what's the problem and what is the cause of the problem. So I didn't really have enough money to do the things that I wanted to do. Now, obviously, a lot of people will relate to this. They're like, I want to do these things, but I don't have the money or I don't have the time. Well, I had neither. So I knew I needed to make some more time for myself. And when I was tied to my business, I had zero time. I was just working all the time. So I needed to get out of my business, but also money. Now, there's things you can do with money. What I'd done is I went through our bank, and obviously you might have several different bank accounts, you might have credit cards and stuff like that. It's important to review them and go through them. So I went through every single one and kind of highlighted anything that I didn't need. Or all these crazy subscriptions. Do I really need a Sky subscription for £100 a month? Do I really need that? Now, most people will say, oh yeah, because I do, because it's entertainment for the kids. So I went through the bank and kind of cut out everything that I didn't need. And I was quite ruthless, like really, really ruthless. Now, because I made the decision to kind of leave the UK and ditch everything, obviously it makes it a lot easier, but we was sort of doing this like well before then, like well before then. Cut out all the finances that I didn't need to make sure that I've got as much money in my pocket as I possibly can. Now, the next stage I went through was becoming a minimalist, minimalising my whole house. Now, this entails going through room by room and ditching everything you don't need. You could sell it, you can give it to charity, or you can dump it. If things can be reused, that's obviously better for the environment and stuff like that. So it's just a process. Now, becoming a minimalist is really important. Now, the reason for it is because you start to recognize what holds value in your life. It's not about getting rid of everything and not having anything. It's actually just recognizing what has the most value. So the thing is with materialism is that, especially in the UK, the US, Canada, Australia, all these countries, we just buy into things all the time. We're always sold things. Everything we watch, everything we see, what we listen to, it's all about selling you a product, selling you a service, selling you this, sell to get you. And it's addictive. And then society has created this thing where we feel we need all these things. Everybody needs an iPad, everybody needs the latest phone, everybody needs the latest trainers that come out, all these things, and we buy things that are just not necessary. So it's about reducing. Like for me, now I live out of 2.5 suitcases, a couple of backpacks. All my stuff really is like my tech gear and stuff like that. We got some stuff for the kids, but that's everything I own. Like literally, that's all my possessions. That's what I own. It's about understanding what really, really holds value. Obviously, there might be some sentimental things. Fantastic. Identify them, keep them. That's absolutely fine. But there's lots of things in your life that you really don't need. My garage was completely full just of crap. Loads of stuff that I bought from Homebase and from you just, what do you do on a Saturday? Or let's go to Homebase and buy some shit that we don't need. Like honestly, it's full of that sort of stuff. So I went through a process, but also the good thing about becoming I'm going to keep saying this, becoming a minimalist, is that the stuff you don't need you can sell, so you can make a bit of money back. So I sold loads of stuff on eBay. I don't like doing it on Facebook Marketplace because it's full of complete idiots, if I'm honest. But you get the idea, becoming a minimalist. And I think it's great for business owners to kind of have the same attitude that you only keep what you need, you only have things that hold value in your life. Everything else you don't need, because the thing is, the more stuff, the more clutter, the more things to worry about. You really need to focus your energy and your time on things that do matter, and this is something I'm going to go on to next. It's things like relationships with people. Obviously there's a lot of people in your life that you have no choice, that you have to be a part of their life. But there's things you can do. I mean, there's obviously family and stuff like that, but people like friends and who you surround yourself with, do they make you feel good? You need to understand what is positive and what is negative. If something's negative coming towards you, you need to kind of reduce that as much as you can. Obviously, sometimes you can't do it completely, but you need to reduce it. And who makes you feel positive? Who makes you understand what is a positive feeling or a negative feeling. Positive is makes you happy, makes you smile, makes you feel complete. Negative makes you feel angry, makes you feel, jealous even. You need to, those emotions, you need to try and solve the problem of getting rid of them. And our relationships with people are very important. And I used to have, I've got friends, and some will probably watch this and be like, well, that's a bit harsh. But some, for example, might bring a lot of negativity to me. You call them friends, but they're just acquaintances. And so I had to kind of reduce these relationships and, be quite ruthless. And like nowadays, I mainly speak to people who bring me joy, who I like speaking to, or bring, creativity or an interesting conversation, something I can relate to. But things like gossip, not interested. Gossip is a waste of energy, it's a waste of time. I don't do gossip. And it's the same as things like, I only feel you should watch or read or listen to or whatever, anything that either brings joy and happiness to you, if it inspires you or educates you. So for example, I remember just before I left the UK, for some reason I was staying up really late, and I watched the new It horror movie. I don't know why I'd done that, because I haven't watched like horror movies in a long time. I watched them a lot when I was a kid. I remember watching like sort of 20 minutes into it. I'm like, what on earth is this? Like, this is an absolute load of rubbish. What on earth am I watching? It doesn't bring me joy or happiness. It doesn't educate me, and it doesn't inspire. I mean, if that inspires you, there's something seriously wrong there. But anyway, I just feel like what we consume, whether it's through your eyes, through any of your senses, like your taste buds or anything, what is good that we consume, like we consume goodness comes out. If we consume bad stuff, bad comes out. And I'm not talking about out your arse, I'm talking about just any of your energy, your persona, everything about you. I'm a big believer in it. So I feel like I used to watch a lot of crap on TV. I haven't watched TV properly in 9 months, although currently right now I'm trying to find out how I can watch Game of Thrones, because that thing brings massive joy to my life. So I am going to watch it. But generally, I don't waste my time watching or reading anything. I used to watch a lot of YouTube. I read stuff like currently I'm studying Buddhism, for example. So I will spend half an hour of an evening before I go to bed just to sort of calm down, chill out before I go to sleep. And I'll read up about Buddhism. I feel it's something that I can relate to. Not that I'm becoming a Buddhist or anything, but I just like some of the values, and I just find it interesting. So for me, it's a bit of education, some of it's joy, and a lot of what I'm talking about actually holds Buddhist values as well. So you've got to be really careful where you place your energy, who you place your time with. Now, the other big thing is work. Now, this is the killer, because we all, like, as much as I hate the thing called money because it's man-made and it runs everything, we need it. Like, it is a pain. You need money, but you need to make sure that you're completely utilising your money, how you spend it efficiently to make it go further. So the whole finance thing that I spoke about, but also evaluate your job. Is it really worth it? Is it worth the stress? For me, it wasn't worth the stress at all. Arguably, I kind of needed to do it because it got me where I am today. So, but I understand also sometimes we need to be in a cycle of doing things that we perhaps don't want to get in a position that benefits us. So as much as I'm saying, don't do this, don't do that, whatever, sometimes you've got to take the rough to go the smooth. It's just how life works, unfortunately. It's like riding waves. Again, there's things that you can do to look after yourself in the process, and work is the big one. Like, I never had time for anything, time for myself. So if work and what you got to understand, right, and this is the thing, when I quit my job, I used to have a lot of people answer to me. My phone used to go nuts all day long. And obviously when I quit work, I changed my number. Not many people do have my number. And I absolutely loved it because people weren't contacting me and stuff like that and getting hold of me because it took up so much of my time. And I had a bit of an identity crisis when I stopped, because like all of a sudden I've gone from this director of this company with loads of people answering to me, talking to me, these work relationships, which a lot of them just remain at work level, they're gone. And I was like, well, who am I now? Like, I used to be provider of my family. Who am I now? And I went through this sort of process, which I'll talk about more in detail another time. But then I sort of realised that I used to think like I was my job. But it's bullshit. Like, you are not your job. You are an individual. You're not just dad. You're not just husband. You're not just a brother, a son. You are an individual person, and you have needs, and you need to look after yourself. And I've gone through, obviously this process and had the time to do so. But I think people just lose themselves, especially when they're in a high career. They believe their job is them. Because believe me, like, if you die tomorrow, somebody else will step into your shoes to do that job. Or if they can't find someone who's directly does your job, they'll figure something out because they have to. A job is not you, so don't think it is. So if you need to consider changing jobs, changing roles, consider it. Do you know what? I believe in confidence. I'm very confident in my ability. I've never really worried about not having work. I know that's just me. Not everybody's confident like myself. If you're doing that job and you're confident in your ability, or your ability, don't be afraid. Like, seriously, don't be afraid. Like, there are options to you. The days of your employer needs you as much as you need them. It's a two-way relationship, and if the relationship is failing because somebody's getting more than the other person, what they're looking for, the relationship collapses. And that's the same as any relationship, whether it's business, friends, family, intimate. It's the same, as long as you're mutual in what you're getting and you're giving, and you have that mutual understanding. But as soon as that sort of stops, everything fails. So consider your career. Do you get that work-life balance from your career? Like I said, I know guys who earn 100+ K a year, and they don't see their families. They don't have time for themselves. All they do is work. Do you really need 100K a year? Because believe me, you don't need that money. It's just that because you've become accustomed. And when you start earning more money, you start spending more money. It's just the way it goes. Now, what you also need to do, which is really important, is start looking after yourself. Your diet, exercise, just doing things like learning, reading, writing, drawing, whatever you're into. There's so many things you can do. And my body has completely changed since I've sort of been traveling. I feel so much better. I feel stronger. I feel more energetic. I do a lot of exercise, and I'm staying in ashram. Like, it's where people do yoga. So, you know what I mean? There's loads of things I could do here, like meditation. Meditation is a big one for me. I started meditating probably about just shy of a year ago now, and it does so much for me. Like, if I feel like I'm getting angry or I'm losing control of a situation, I can just kind of try and stop myself, do what I'm doing, and just meditate. Something I teach the kids to meditate. My wife obviously does it as part of her yoga. Meditating is an important thing, and I think everybody should kind of look into it if you're struggling with a few aspects of life. Meditation does a lot for me, just a thought. But looking after myself is important. I mean, I started going to the gym just before I left the UK, early morning, and just exercise does so much for the brain and your body. If you're feeling good about yourself, it increases energy. There's so many benefits to exercise, and there's so many things you can do as well that are cheap, easy. And I know it sometimes can be hard in the UK. You might feel like you want to go for a run and then the weather goes bad and you want to stop doing it and you're demotivated, but there's so many things you can do. And again, if you're minimalising your life and you're cutting things out that you don't need, you can place your time elsewhere into maybe exercise, which brings positivity to your life, instead of sitting watching, no end of boring EastEnders or Coronation Street or reality TV, for example. That doesn't bring much positivity to your life, whereas going for a run or going to the gym or something like that does, and arguably you can utilize your time however you wish to. All these sort of things are things you can do to sort of create a better work-life balance for yourself, and it's understanding your value. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's a process that you need to want to change something for it to change. And mindset is so important. If you want to make a change, you have to change your mind in thinking that you can achieve what you want to. And things like visualization, for example, is huge. I mean, you may have heard people talk about it, but visualizing what you're going to be doing in a year's time, visualizing, like, for example, if you want to get married, visualizing that you're going to get married, because it changes your mindset on, if you believe something can happen and it's in you to believe that that can happen, it's more likely to happen than not happen by chance. So things happen for a reason. But it's like me and my wife, when we decided that, yes, we are going traveling and this is what we're going to do, we had to visualize it, we had to plan it, we spoke about it, we wrote things down, we went through it, we discussed it, we got happy about it, we're like, oh, we're going to do this. We visualized it and it came true. Whereas if we didn't visualize it, it was just a bit of a passing comment like, oh, let's go traveling. Maybe our mindset wouldn't be in the right place to make it happen. But because we sort of shared the vision and shared the dream together as a team, we kind of made that happen. And a big thing obviously is communicating with your partner. I feel a lot of people really lack communication, but it's such an important tool to kind of, it's something that you can do. And just, I think with communication with people, where it falls down is that you don't ever want to upset somebody, but you've got to be able to talk to somebody. And even if it's not your partner, for example, I think it's important to have a support network, like a few friends, not too many, but a few friends who just kind of listen. No judgment, just listen. And because relationships with people are it's difficult. And when you've got a wife, for example, you might feel that a lot of your problems are your wife and that your wife causes her problems. But look at things from her perspective. Try and look at it from her perspective, because it might actually be you, or it might be a combination. But it might be that your relationship is actually quite good, but it's the pressures of the external stuff that are causing the issues. But this is what comes down to about identifying the problems and causes and finding a solution. So anyway, I business coach. For all who know me, I'm a tradesman. By trade I'm an electrician. I business coach. That's my main line of work now. People come to me who want to grow their business and develop their business. But I do also life coach, because I'm not one of these people who just talks the talk. I've walked the walk. Like, you can follow my story from start to finish. I've got loads of blog posts out. I'm very open on social media. If people chat to me, I'm very open. And I like helping people. So my life coaching is basically helping people in a similar position to me, mainly guys who have a relationship, or maybe it's failed or whatever, just work and that's all they do. And it's about doing things for themselves. So if anybody's interested in coaching, talking more, I'm going to be creating more stuff online to sort of help people. And it's the direction I'm also going in, because it's something I'm very passionate about and it helps people. Like, helping people is a good thing. I like doing things that are positive in my life, not negative. I like to create my life full of positivity. I hope this video has helped some people. I know it's not so much resource. I'm going to be creating some stuff that will be more helpful, but it's more of a chatty thing about my story, my past. If you've got any comments, if you've got any questions about me and my life, please put them in the comments below. Put them in the comments, chat to me, private message me, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to talk. And I've got to sort the kids now, because Wolfie's asleep and my daughter's come back from playing with our friends over the road. And I'll see you on another video. Bye.